is driving me nuts. The Trump administration may soon dangle a giant carrot in front of the Dems in order to get tax reform through. I'm talking about infrastructure spending. It should be music to Democrats' ears. Reports out today say the White House may be looking at putting forth tax reform and infrastructure at the same exact time. So, is it going to work? Are we going to get lower taxes as a result of a few handouts for some infrastructure? Joining me right now, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. Leslie, good to see you. I mean, even Chuck Schumer, I think, is on board with this one. He should be able to get his head around it. Does that mean other Democrats will as well?
No, and I'm not sure Chuck Schumer will today post health care repeal, replace, reform, fail by President Obama will keep Chuck Schumer, Senator Schumer, on board because he's getting a lot of pushback from liberals and those on the left. Certainly Democrats want to come home and get that money in their home state, especially for infrastructure. It's a job creator.
I can imagine there's a few Republicans out there that want it too.
Oh, no, absolutely. This is an issue where there can be bipartisan agreement. The problem is what will be added? Will be defunding of Planned Parenthood? Will we have an offset in the increased military spending? Will there be anything about building that wall? So I'm sorry if I sound like a real big pessimist here, Trish, but I just don't think the two sides are going to come together, especially after Friday, to have a kumbaya moment with regard to tax reform and even with regard to
jobs
infrastructure.
In your state. I mean, even if it's a big win for your state, to get a piece of that infrastructure spend, you're not going to go along with things.
I don't think Democrats are going to have much of a choice if some of those items or all that I listed are in there. And Republicans, we have seen historically, Democrats have done this as well, love to add those line items that help them get to the finish line when there's an election coming around a year and a half or so. But Democrats have that same situation. They not only want to keep their job, they want to flip some seats. So they can't
So what do you think that means for tax reform? Do you think the Democrats are going to stand in the way of tax reform now?
I honestly don't think it's going to be the Democrats. I think it's going to be the Republicans. Because if you look at it, they have three splits, right? I mean, some people are looking at, foreign funds and how tax is going to be reformed there. And again, there is a split, not just between the Freedom Caucus and, the Rand Paul types, but what's going to happen when it comes to the budget deficit and how they're going to have the actual reformation. It's actually, in a sense, the same argument the Democrats have with the Republicans. The Republicans have in their own party split three ways.
All right, but that said, I'm looking at the stock market right now, and it's up in part because of the improved consumer confidence numbers, but also, Leslie, because there's an expectation right now that, guess what, something will get done still in the way of tax reform, and also, in fact, healthcare reform still. In other words, maybe they jumped the gun on that one. They went a little too fast. They put a little too much deadline pressure on themselves, but that could resurface as well. At least that's what the market's betting. They have it wrong?
Well, certainly I'm not going to disagree with you there, Trish, and you know a lot more about Wall Street than I do with your background compared to mine. But at the end of the day, Wall Street will do what it does in its predictions with what it wants. But at the end of the day, what we are seeing and hearing coming out of the White House is that the president may not end up wanting to, but having to do something many people like myself said to do originally, which was don't repeal it, don't replace it, don't rename it with regard to health care. Fix what we have. And that's what the majority of the American people want as well.
Leslie, I'm going to see you again in a little bit. Don't go anywhere again. All right, the mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, says this statue of a young girl, take a look, staring down Wall Street's charging bull, the famous bull, is going to stay put another year until February 2018. The statue was basically a PR stunt designed to promote International Women's Day, and it was supposed to be removed this weekend. But no, Bill de Blasio says he wants it to stick around, and this is why.
I've been profoundly struck by what this statue means, in particular to women and to girls in this city and this whole country. But I think there's an even broader symbolism of standing up to fear, standing up to power. She is inspiring everyone in a moment where we need inspiration.
This is all wrong, Mr. Mayor. I mean, you do know that the bull represents a booming stock market and a growing economy, right? Bull market and all that, get it? It's an expression that is used. The bull represents prosperity. So if you really want to interpret this art, you got to wonder, why would an artist want a little girl standing in the way of economic growth? I mean, shouldn't she want to stand with it? Shouldn't we want her standing with it alongside the bull? Of course. I mean, women are not against a strong economy. We are part of it. Once again, the left completely missing the mark here. Leslie Marshall is back with me also. Joining me, conservative commentator Gina Loudon. Good to see you. Good
to see you.
Isn't this, Gina, I'll start with you. Isn't this imagery all wrong? The little girl facing down the bull, but the bull represents prosperity, economic growth, success.
Yeah, this is just a perfect example of a leftist approach to bash capitalism, Trish, but it doesn't really work. You know, I took one look at that little girl, and I thought of girls like you, ladies like you, who were once little girls who dreamed of enchanting that bull and riding the market and doing all the great things you've done in your career. And there are so many others like you who are inspired by the success that can be had in business. And so I just really think that they missed the mark with this one entirely.
I think the artist didn't know what the heck the artist was doing. I mean, Leslie, you talk about interpreting art. Someone forgot or didn't understand or chose to ignore what the bull represents. And it's not suppression. It's not oppression. It is, in fact, opportunity for everyone. We should all want a successful economy.
I don't disagree. We all want a successful economy. But I would be willing to bet, and I hope you guys do a poll on this, how many people don't know truly what a bull represents? Seriously, if you just ask people who's the vice president, name a Supreme Court judge member. I think looking at it, and this has nothing to do with my politics, I definitely am a woman and I have a little girl. But when I looked at it, I thought it was awesome visually. And my interpretation, which art certainly is open to everyone's interpretation, was staring down something bigger than herself, that she can conquer that, staring down something, perhaps a bully, not to be fearful of something normally you'd be fearful of, a big bull, something that's, assuming and fearful normally. And that's how I took it. I didn't take it with the market, and I don't think little girls should be afraid.
I'm sorry, but
of a robust market
maybe I've just been around investors for too long. Because to me, a bull is all about a bull market. And the reason why that particular bull is located in Wall Street is because it's a bull market. Ladies, thank you so much. President Trump just signing a sweeping executive order moments ago. The EP